Faldo at third. Well, he's stopped the rot and made a birdie at the last. See if that gets him on a roll. Be right, he's saying, so it's a good one. Oh, it's just a little too... There, it looks like it's just coming back onto the edge like Langer's did a moment or two ago.
Too many steroids. Shouldn't sprinkle those on the concrete.
Now Corey Pavin, who is the leading American flag carrier here. Ryder Cup player. And as Steve said, not had a lot of great results in final rounds of major championships, but like Tom Kite, I'm sure one day it's going to happen. Don't think he liked it. And that's why. Difficult shot.
Sixth hole, Fred Couples to go 5 under. So lots of very fine players within a handful of shots of each other, and a lot of holes left to play.
Now this is Wayne Grady. There's a beauty as well. Grady with a 64 yesterday has dropped a couple of shots today, and he's presently 2 under par.
Bernhard Langer, excellent drive, about 260 yards this one is. Tough drive this one over that big sand dune which faces them from the tee. He's got himself into a good position here. He's got 175 yards to go to the front of this green, and it's quite a lot, another 22 yards on. Now, his real problem here is to make sure he really mustn't go for this flag. I think it's very tight on the right-hand side of the green. And if he misses it at all there, it's going to slide off down into the semi-rough, which is leaves him with a horrid pitch. So really into the heart of this green. It will collect it left to right down the hill, so he can use all the contours. And I would think he's probably using a 4 or 5 iron. Wind exactly from his right-hand side.
Go.
Looking at it a bit unhappily, but why? Just needs to stay there. Is he going to trickle back? No, it stayed there. It's a good, very good shot by Bernhard Langer.
Nick Price on the 5th, his second shot hugged the left-hand side where there's lots of trouble, but it gave him a good line in, and a bit unlucky just to check up as he did, but not all that far away. Obvious chance for a birdie.
Now back to the 4th, where Greg Norman has hit a prodigious drive down the left side.
180 yards this driver, Greg Norman's. He's left himself only 155 to the front now. He can see all the green. He's on one of the highest parts of the driving area, in fact the highest part of the driving area, so he can see the bottom of the flag, which is unusual for anybody on this fairway. 155 to go, as I say. This could be probably a 6 iron for Greg. Usually says he's pleased with it, that kind of look on his face. But no, it's a long way away, but it's still on the green, and that is on this par 4 fourth, really a bonus, and the par 4 is well worth having.
And we're back to watch Nick Faldo's birdie putt at the third, just a little short and to the right, but an easy tap in for his par. So things are really developing into a tight struggle between Faldo and Norman, both 9 under the cards, and as Faldo taps in for the par, here is Greg Norman, and he's on the fourth, and a long putt for Greg.
Keep on coming. Keep coming.
One would be better, wouldn't it? Oh. That was a wonderful touch. Wunderschön. He's back to being a bit more colourfully attired today. I think one or two of my chums after a rough night out wouldn't fancy looking at that for too long. It's a very bold print.
Left to right, isn't it?
Yeah.
First half, straight away.
Good for Norman. Langer's coming down and across the green, and this one too can slip away towards us as we look from the back. If you just don't get it right, they're long, sort of rolling hog's backs that run through and in several directions on a number of these greens. Real roller coasters. And that's slowed up quite considerably.
Now Nick Faldo taking on the fourth, and he's gone left down over the small bunker, hopefully to cut it back to the fairway, and that's his policy. That was beautifully judged. Set it over the low hill and brought it nicely back, and the further right it goes, the easier the second. And he's looking very happy, very confident with his swing. A swing of great precision, and this one, well, it's a technique all of his own. You've missed seeing the fancy practice swing that he makes, but now the actual one is very orthodox. If you go too far left, you can get kicked down into there, and that's a very unfortunate shot for Corey Pavin.
Norman and Faldo at 9 under par, with Nick Price emerging as an extra threat at 7 under par after his birdies at the second and the fourth. News of other British players going well. Paul Lawrie has got to 3 under par after 9 holes. He's just birdied the 9th. Barry Lane has picked up a shot. He's 2 under after 12. Peter Baker has finished with a round of 68 for 1 under par for the championship. And Ian Pyman, the amateur champion, he's still going along very well. He's 1 under par after 14 holes, 1 under par for his round, well on course for setting a new amateur record for 4 holes in the Open Championship.
Langer at the fourth for his par. And you can count those on the finger of one hand in a year's march. From this man now, that's very rare. And at this point, very important.
To the 5th tee, Greg Norman. Norman, who's made an excellent start to the championship's final day. He is taking no chances with carrying it over the dunes.
There's the big bunker at the fourth, and probably the last sight of it this year, but it's the other one up the left-hand side. He's 200 yards from the green, Corey Pavin, and no chance of getting home. That's a deep pit. And anyone dropping shots in this mass of birdies that seem to be being scored in the opening holes amongst the leaders, it almost moves back 2 shots.
Faldo, who's hit a very nice drive here at the fourth. Good flight, got a bit of run out of it. 275-yard drive. And 190 yards to go, so a relatively short second shot.
Still, please.
Pin today, though, tucked well over on the right. If you miss it right, it's a dangerous spot. Very difficult to get up and down from there. Hitting a 5-iron, he's going for the pin. Well, that was a very nice strike. Just got a little bit of rise, held it up into the right, left breeze. A lovely shot.
Would have looked good from where they were, but it bounced hard and through and into a very nasty little spot. Bit of green to work with, but not what he would have expected when the ball was in midair.
John Daly at the 7th hole. Daly 1 under at this stage.
Back to the fourth. And of course, John Daly dropped 3 shots in the last 2 holes, hence why he's only was 1 under playing 7.
And Corey Pavin, who just seems to have lost his long game a little bit on the opening holes, played a good recovery there out of the bunker, out of the left-hand bunker, but he's landed in one of these hollows, so he won't see the bottom of the pin. Only a shortish shot, though. Lofted down will get him home. He's got 120 yards to go. Conditions very much more favourable now, though. The wind's dropped into a breeze, and scoring should certainly improve. No, Pavin has a 9-iron. It might not quite be a full one. Well, he made a good strike, started the pin, but the breeze just moved it over to the left.
Nick Price for yet another birdie at the 6th.
Do it!
2 already. And he's within 2 of the lead, even without that one going in.
Well, at the 5th, Bernhard Langer has hit his tee shot up there on the hillside.
Bit lucky here, Alex, wasn't he? End up there, could have been in the hay on the left. But he's given himself a nasty one. He can't see the flag from there. The little sand dune about 80, 90 yards ahead of him, which is blocking the view to the green. He's got 175 to go. The lie is actually very good. Probably a 7-iron for Bernhard there. That's rushing up the left-hand side of the green. Good result from there. Quite fortunate off that drive.
the back of the fourth. Now you can see this is where the water has run, the automatic watering system. This is the low point behind the green, and that's why it's a different colour to the rest. It gathers there, and it's left a very lush spot, and his ball is lying down in it. If it hits the hole, that'll help. And he's got Langer's putt coming back, and I don't have for a moment think that Langer twitched his. I think it just was a misjudgment, a misread.
Nick Price drives at the par 5 7th. Price now just 2 behind the leaders, and this par 5 offering birdies galore, but I don't think from that spot.
Norman at 5. He's absolutely in position A there. You can see the pin and the green. A shot of about 160 yards. Okay, but not great.
We have you with us as we watch Nick Faldo, a putt for par at the fourth. This is a putt that Bernhard Langer missed just a little while ago, and Faldo taking his time, concentrating this for a par to keep a share of the lead with Greg Norman, and missing the putt. So a drop shot for Faldo at the fourth to give Greg Norman outright lead in the British Open by a shot from Nick Faldo. And Corey Pavin is now 7 under, not having the happiest of sessions so far, but he's still up there with the leaders.
Langer at the next hole, the 5th, for a 3. It's got it. He's got it. He's got it. So that well, that certainly evens up the little one he missed at the last. He goes to 8 under and joins Faldo. He was 2 shots behind him about a minute ago.
At the 7th, the par 5, Wayne Grady's hit it in 2, has this for an eagle 3. And he's got it. So he goes to 4 under.
Greg Norman then in the lead on his own at 9 under par, and the 4th is a particularly painful hole for Nick Faldo. That's where he dropped his shot yesterday as well, and well, it's cost him dear in the last 2 days. In fact, the previous bogey that he suffered was at that 4th hole in round 3. So Faldo has to rally a bit, so too does Corey Pavin, but Bernhard Langer has moved back into things at 8 under par.
Norman now at the 5th for a 3. But it does become, somehow it does become harder to hole when someone else has knocked in a long one. They sort of fill the hole up somehow.
To the 7th, we saw Nick Price's ball land on that awkward spot on the hill, so there's no way that he's going to get near the green in 2 shots. He's going to have a very long 3rd. Thing is to get it out into position in the center of the fairway. There it is, there. Nick Price playing with Peter Senior.
Langer with the honour at the 6th. Pin in quite a pleasant position over on the left-hand side in that in the little gully that runs sideways across this green. Shortest hole on the course at 155 yards, and that's going to be good now. His heart would have been in his mouth in the air because it was flying straight at that bunker, but fortunately it bit.
Nick Faldo driving at the 5th and looking as if he's pulled it. There are bunkers down there on the left, and he's caught the middle one of them. Well, he knows he's in there. I know it's playing over sand hills.
No, Norman, and, well, how many years is it since he was in the lead on his own in a major championship, approaching the closing holes. A 6-iron for Norman. Breeze, what there is of it against and from the right. And a 3/4 swing. And for the moment at least he's enjoying it. It's a very exciting hole, this 6th to play. Huge crowds on the maiden. And all round this green, surrounded by people, a very good advantage point, and I think there are 4,000 or 5,000 people round this green.
Corey Pavin at the 5th. His partner in the bunker on the left. And Pavin just laying up, but kicking badly, kicking away. He might not be able to see the green from there for the second shot.
There are the crowds around 6th. The ones on the top of the hill are looking down at the 5th, where Faldo and Pavin, and, well, they might be coming up to the 18th green, such as the reception. What a great moment, what a lovely sight. The maiden, they didn't think it would be covered like that when it was designed into this golf course. Back to the 5th.
Now there's the ball of Nick Faldo down there at the bottom right of your screen, and he will have to draw on his resources very early on this Sunday.
But first it's going to be Corey Pavin to play from 165 yards. Didn't quite make that little triangle over to his left side of the fairway, which is high ground. Just rolled off the edge. Left himself a blind shot here. Can't even see the top of the pin. Just a little breeze blowing from left to right now. Should get a fair amount of loft on this though. He's on an uphill lie. Just a 6-iron from there.
Cut. Get right a little.
Yeah, it's a nice shot that. You could see with the loft of the club and the help of the upslope, the ball stopped quite quickly. Now Faldo is down the left side in the first of the 2 bunkers. The lie's clean, but difficult. He's down in a big hollow down there, so again he can't see anything of the green. ...160 yards to go for Nick Faldo. He's coming down the breeze a little more. Can possibly get home with a 6 or 7 iron from there, but a very difficult shot. Well, that's a good recovery. Lovely shot. 6-iron there for Nick Faldo. He birdied this hole on the second day during that magnificent 63.
Langer for a 2 at the short 6th. No, just too hard on that line. He'll stay at 8 under.
Nick Price, who's played his 3rd shot onto the 7th, the par 5, this for a birdie 4. And no, just one lean to the right would have done it.
Norman at the 6th now. He's done it. He leads by 2. He leads by 2. What a start he's made. 3-4-2, 4-4-2. 3 birdies in the first 6 holes. Doesn't it taste good? Five under 4s for the first 6 holes. And the next hole, the most easy birdie hole on the course. And although all of the others have got to play it, or the main contenders have got to play it, still, if he gets to 11 or 12 under, what effect that will have. Now, Langer for his par. No mistaking this time. He stays at 8. But the impetus is with this group. Langer, of course, holed that big putt at the previous hole. Well, some, I think, beginning to go with the penultimate group of Norman and Langer. The bulk, though, will wait for Faldo to come through.
Well, there's no question that Nick Faldo, apart from hearing the roars, will have been advised. He will know that he now trails by 2.
Quick look at the leaderboard to confirm Greg Norman 2 clear of Bernard Langer and Nick Faldo, and this is looking ever more like one of Norman's great last rounds in a major championship. Remember, he came from, what, 7 behind at Troon in 1989, lost the playoff to Mark Calcavecchia, but Faldo is also a man who can produce fireworks on the last day.
Well, he needs fireworks, and this is where it could start. He hit a poor tee shot, glorious second. Now he needs a brilliant third. Has he given it enough? Well, he had that look about him in Muirfield round about the 13th, 14th hole a year ago. And he really has to draw on all his mental resources, not his physical ones. They're okay. He was...
And if you've just joined our coverage, the news is that Greg Norman leads the British Open by 2 shots.
Stand still, please.
He's played 6 holes. He's on the 7th and hit a good tee shot right down the fairway. Nick Faldo is 8 under, 2 shots behind Norman. Here is his tee shot at the 5th.
It looked like a good contact. It looked beautifully clear. And he's into the trough. A shrug that was only mediocre in his book. And now Corey Pavin. Look out across the bay, other people enjoying other sports out there, oblivious of what's going on over here with us. You watch the little practice routine of Pavin now. You watch what he does here. Up, out, in and around. A figure 8 in all the wrong things. And he keeps doing it. But at one stage in his career, he must have been stopped from swinging too much in to out on the strike. And he's cured it, and he goes on doing this. And watch the actual swing. Perfectly normal, isn't it? 7 iron. Now, it just didn't make it over the top. If it had, it would have come down very close.
This is the result of Greg Norman's tee shot at the 7th, which you saw. He's got 2:15 to go, but as you can see, the stance is anything but easy. The ball is well below his feet. He's got 2:15 to go, as I was saying. Now the big thing here, the wind is also from his left, so he's got to try and not overcompensate too much. So with the ball below his feet, he's got a tendency to push it right with the wind from the left, so he's got all those problems to think about. Must be a 3-iron, Norman.
Hold him, Win. Hold him.
Well, it's going on to the front of the green. Is it going to roll up and off or not? Oh, down that slope. Not. A bit unlucky, though, really. A good shot by Norman on this par 5.
Nick Price, second shot at the 8th.
Softly.
Oh, get down.
And unable to stop it out of that. And that's not a very nice place on the bank, but at least we can see the ball, so he should be able to get the club underneath it.
Bernhard Langer, just 10 yards in front of where Greg Norman was, but on a much better lie. And his stance is level, much easier shot for him, and this is very much a hole where all these big boys are looking for a birdie 4. There's no reason why they shouldn't. It's only a mid-iron really now for Langer, 4-iron at the most. Point is, if you pitch it at the front of this green, it has a tendency to dance on, so there's every chance of him thinking that way. Oh, it just slipped over the bunker, but now it's done very well. It's going to take the slopes down towards the pin right at the back today. Good shot by Bernhard Langer. Good opportunity for an eagle even.
This is Nick Price to the right of the 8th, and this is a difficult one. Since making that second birdie, he struggled a bit. Didn't make a birdie at the 7th. Just like dropping a shot, and here he's in some real trouble. Well, didn't come out as badly as it looked like it might, but he's still got to make that to save par.
Corey Pavin back at the 6th. Ooh, and he just slipped by the low side there at 6. Corey not having his distance right so much today. He's just struggling a little bit with his ball striking. Wonderful crowds here up on the big dunes. Faldo, this for his 2. And he's got it. And one that he really needed. Pulls him back into 1 shot behind the leader, Greg Norman. He's a very tough man. You can see there the 1 drop shot at the 4th hole. 1 under for the round today. 1 shot back of Greg Norman. Pavin. This putt for par. Dropped a shot at 1. Birdie 2. Dropped the shot at 4 after a bad drive. This to stay 3 shots back of Greg Norman. Never in. Yep. Corey struggling. It makes 7 all important. To have any kind of chance, he's got to birdie 7. Always makes a difference in how you play a hole. Sometimes you get it's an easy birdie if you've played the hole before that very well.
Now this is Greg Norman. This is from the left to the 7th. He was a little unlucky there, and Langer a little lucky. And you need a little bit of that luck to win championships like this. Greg is using a putter up this incline, and then his third shot. This is a par 5, remember. You know, that's the kind of a shot that you just don't practice very much, and that's what happens sometimes. Boy, what a disaster that was. But he can still make par. But with Faldo back there on the tee, and Faldo an opportunity to birdie this one. There he is.
Stand still, please.
Dave Marr was just reminding us that Norman 3-putted here yesterday for a par, and that's a better one, though. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Wow, what he'd have given to have done that the first time. But still, it's a par 5. Very, very unfortunate break for Greg Norman.
Just for par for Nick Price at the 8th. He's hit some good putts today that just haven't gone, and you know that Nick is thinking about winning the tournament. And the chances are getting slimmer now. Can't afford to make any bogeys.
Now we have a man here who is just a little bit lucky with his shot to this green. This is for an eagle. This would put him into a tie for the lead in the championship. Reigning Masters champion. He's got a sure birdie, so he's going to go up to 9 under par. One shot behind Norman, level with Faldo for the time being. With Faldo, of course, having this par 5 ahead of him. There it is.
Nick Faldo at the par 5 7th. His tee shot. Better watch that bunker. Better watch that bunker. And he's in it, which is going to take out the possibility of reaching the green in 2. He knows it. Paving now. Just over the right corner of the left-hand bunker. Looks like that started okay.
Here is Nick Faldo, his tee shot into the bunker, and some trouble for Nick Faldo, currently trailing the leader Greg Norman by 1 shot, and he's far from happy.
Potential difficulties for Faldo here at the 7th.
Now Nick Price up ahead. This is the 9th. He's got to make something happen here pretty quick now. Well, how about that for making something happen? Beautiful, beautiful shot. Just about a 2-footer for a birdie. That would put him 7 under and 3 out of the lead if he can make it.
Ian Pyman at the 18th hole. This 20-year-old amateur who's just had the taps in for a 5 there and a round of 71 and a new record by an amateur in the Open Championship. And what a week it's been for this 20-year-old. New record, the amateur champion. Terrific stuff.
Well, judging by the loft on that second shot from the bunker, it seemed to be a 5-iron. He must have caught it very low or perhaps a little bit thin to drill it into the bank. But it was almost, the type of shot he had there was almost inviting an error. It was flat out, very touch and go when you've got to move a ball that far with a 5-iron. So this is where he needs, if he possibly can, to be a little defensive now, having made rather a mess of the second shot. He's got to get himself back into play, must try and hit the green, and he's not going to get much stop. It's an awkward shot, the breeze is following, so this ball will chase on. It'll take a lot of roll. So Faldo now must concentrate on making his 5.
Well, that's Faldo's shot here onto the green safely. This, of course, is Nick Faldo's birthday today. Amongst all the other activities for him, he's dealing with that as well.
Nick Price, this for a birdie. That's a nice. And that's what he has to do. He's got to be very aggressive now on. He can take some chances that the others may not be able to take. Goes to 7 under and 3 shots back of the leader.
Now this is Langer's second to the 8th. Well, that drew up more quickly than he would have liked, but safely on nevertheless. And now Greg Norman. Like to make up for that last hole and put this one really close. He didn't do it. Just on the fringe there. Shouldn't be all that difficult to get down in 2, but not what he had in mind.
So Norman failed to make his 4 at 7. Faldo is struggling to make his 4 at 7. Norman at 10 under. Langer and Faldo at 9 under. And just to underline on Ian Pyman, came in with a 4-round total of 281, and that is the lowest 4-round total by an amateur since the Open Championship began in 1860, and it beat the record of 283 set by Guy Wolstenholme at St Andrews in 1960. Ian Pyman, a record breaker today, and Payne Stewart, very nearly a record breaker, had a putt for a 62 at the 18th today, finished with a round of 63 and is 4 under par. Mark Calcavecchia has had a 68 today. And there Peter Baker finishing well, 1 under par after his 4 rounds. A round of 68 for him. Mark Rowe also a 66 today. And David Frost and Roger Davis with him at level par.
Nick Price, his drive at 10. Good shot in the fairway to this par 4.
And now Faldo. This is a birdie opportunity at the 7th. Oh. That was so close. What a marvelous birdie that would have been. But he, like Norman ahead of him, has to settle for a par 5 at the 7th. Corey Pavin, of course, on the green. He 3-putted. He had a putt for an eagle here yesterday and 3-putted it. So he's got a putt for an eagle again today. Pavin now 4 behind, but this would get him to within 2. Well, a birdie nevertheless. That takes Pavin to 7 under and a tie with Nick Price for 4th place.
Langer got a putt up over the hill. This at the 8th hole. There's the downslope. Starts to break to his right. Better slow down. Run hard. 9 under, tied with Faldo in 2nd place at the moment. Norman, of course, missed the green just to the left.
Not a very nice lie here on the left at 8 for Greg Norman. Just sitting down in this lush grass. Got the sandwich out just to pop it up and let it go down the hill. There's a little ridge about 3 yards ahead of him, so he's got to get over that and then let the hill on the green take it. That's going to do pretty well. It's just come a bit. He couldn't believe it could be short, I don't think. Very nicely played by Greg Norman.
This is Ernie Els, the South African. This is the 11th hole for birdie. That was the 10th for birdie. So Els goes to 6 under, just 4 behind.
At the 8th, Langer. This for his par 4. Stay within a shot of Greg Norman, who has yet to putt here. You see his mark just about hole high to the right. Bit of relief there. Yeah, missed that short putt at 4, and of course, always looks like when someone putts that way that he's not a good putter, but he's made a lot of putts the first 54 holes. Excellent striker of the ball. Good putter. Works hard, practices a lot.
Now back at the tee, Nick Faldo, who almost escaped a near disaster with a birdie at the 7th, but had to settle for par. Nick just 1 behind. likes it. And that is why. Got a leaderboard here, which is absolutely incredible. Norman, Langer, Faldo, Price, and Pavin. Some of the top players in the world, all on top.
This for par 4 at the 8th for Greg Norman. These are the ones that test your courage, and he's got it. Greg, too, has been putting very well this week, and of course, that's why he's in the lead at 10 under.
Now a quick check to see how the Australians are faring in this, the final round. Greg Norman, of course, championship leader at 10 over. Peter Senior is 5 under the card after 9 holes. Wayne Grady -3 after 10. Roger Davis even, and he's finished his round. Ian Baker Finch is 1 over after 12. Paul Maloney 3 over, and Steve Elkington 4 over. Craig Parry finished at 6 over. Fowler at 10, along with Mike Harwood, all of those players having completed their round. Now here's Nick Faldo, trailing Greg Norman by 1 shot. This is on the 8th. Greg Norman has teed off on the 9th and put one right down the middle.
Judged the length very well on most of his iron shots. Another fine example there. Off the green, but a good shot.
This is Peter Senior for a birdie at the 10th. No, he's made it. So he goes to 6 under par. That's in 6th place and a tie with Ernie Els.
Corey Pavin coming from a very similar distance. He's got 177 yards to the pin. Yes, beautiful shot. The green narrows at the back here. It takes a bit of finding. Faldo, though, only just off the edge. He can put it from there.
Nick Price at the 10th. This for par after coming out of the bunker. Oh, Nick. And, of course, at this point, no one can afford to be missing any putts, and that drops him back to 6 under for the championship.
Now Greg Norman coming up to his ball at the 9th, right in the middle of the fairway. Slight uphill lie. There's numbers, 3 birdies.
Seve at 18. This is 3rd shot. There's a little flamenco up by the hole there with the spin. Good to see Seve playing well. I hope that gets him in a better mood for the rest of the year.
Now Norman, if he could get this one close, like Nick Price did a few minutes ago, and somehow make birdie, he would be right where he wants to be with 9 to play. Can you believe it? He bettered Nick Price by about 18 inches, and he's about 3 inches or 4 inches away. That'll be a tap-in birdie, and Greg Norman will go to 11 under par and be 2 shots clear with 9 to play.
The 11th, the 216-yard par 3, Peter Senior.
Oh, yeah, Pete.
Well, the caddy likes it. It says, "Oh yeah, Peter," and he knew it was right on land, but just a club short.
Bernard Langer, to follow Greg Norman's is very difficult. just a few yards shorter, about 125 yards to go. This area where the pin is, there is an area around the pin which is in a bit of a bowl, and it collects the ball. Now let's see what happens. It comes off the bank. No, a bit unlucky. A little bit of backspin, and that would have come right down to the hole as well.
This is Faldo. This is his birdie opportunity from the right-hand side of the 8th. Oh, what a great effort that was. That almost went in also. But he'll have to settle for par. Means he'll be 2 shots behind with 10 to play.
As Greg Norman prepares to tap in to open a 2-shot lead at the 9th. Look at the name of Paul Lawrie. The young Scot has come onto the leaderboard at 5 under par. He's had an indifferent season. He qualified by having a very good open at Muirfield last year, but he's having an outstanding day today. This is his 2nd shot at the 15th. He started the day at 1 under. He's just birdied the 14th to go to 5 under par. He's 4 under for his round today and really enjoying himself. 24-year-old Scott, and out in 33, and then 2 further birdies on the way back. Paul Lawrie alongside names like Fred Couples, Nick Price, and not too far off the likes of Faldo Norman.
That was Corey Pavin for a birdie at the 8th. It didn't quite happen for him, and it's a day that well, he's moved backwards while others have moved forwards. But he's still within 3 of the lead, but a very good opportunity there. Went to begging. So they hunt Langer and Norman.
Yes, and here is Bernhard Langer up at the 10th, and that basin that he's just walking around the sort of rim of. Look down, study the break. Pete Coleman, the caddy. It looks as though he's going to give it quite a lot out to the left, almost taking one of his caddy's shoes as a direction. Maybe even wider than that, he looks. You can see Greg Norman's marker right by the hole side. This putt, should he will temporarily tie him with his partner. He gets it. It's a beautiful read of the green, but well, his interpretation of the pace left a bit to be desired. And if he taps this in, then I'm sure Greg Norman in a few minutes will increase his gap to 2 shots. This is no easy tap-in. This putt is pretty close to a couple of feet, and the line has got to be just on the left edge of the hole when it starts off, just left, inside the left edge. And as you can see, it's swinging across the hole. That's the 4 for Langer. Down hard, he stays 9 under. Started the day at 7 under, and we just got there to see Norman tap in so quickly. He didn't waste any time. A birdie which takes him to 11 under.
Seve Ballesteros just at the 18th. Man who's certainly known his share of hard luck over the last few years. And that putt going in to give him a 1 over for the tournament for Seve Ballesteros. The tournament leader, Greg Norman, has teed off on the 10th, and again has sent another one straight down the middle. He leads by 2 from Nick Faldo and Bernhard Langer.
Well, Nick Price at the 12th, and That little putt at 10 was an expensive in his hunt for the title. 365 yards. Between those two bunkers is the ideal line. And that's flying a bit right. It was a very long tee shot. I think he's beyond them.
The ninth hole, Nick Faldo with a 9-iron coming from 135 yards. Very slender green in the flatter part, this ninth green. Big slopes on the left. He's coming in from the best side. It's a good looking shot. So Faldo a little long, but a birdie chance.
Ernie Els at the 12th. This for a birdie. He's got it, he's got it. Unfortunately, the 11th, he dropped a shot, so he birdied 10, dropped one at 11, but got it back there.
Paul Laurie from Scotland, here at the 16th.
Come on, leave it alone.
And that's another good... Oh, no, it's not. No, it just caught the shoulder and is down in the sand.
Now, Pavin, another 15 yards down this hole, but not an easier shot from that angle. He's virtually going to be pitching on a downslope if he pitches the ball anywhere short. If he pitches a little long, a big swale waits just over this green. So only a wedge, but he's got to get it right.
Oh, nice kick.
Well, had a rather lively hop. He played it well, but didn't quite get the result he was looking for.
Fred Couples at the 13th, second shot. 6 under by virtue of a birdie at the 12th, the same hole that Ernie Els got one, so he's sort of on the fringes of contention and maybe closer than that after that shot.
You see how the flag stands up on the 10th? It's like the top of the world up there. It's a table. You can't afford to miss the green at the back either.
Well, Alex, yes, with the wind just freshening a bit in the last, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, I suppose. This is a dangerous shot now to go for this flag. The bunker's on the big bunker on the left, not far from the flag. But Langer's tee shot is sort of settled in amongst the dunes of this classic links course. He's got 148 yards to go, so he's quite a long way back. And it gives him just a slightly longer club than he'd probably want here. Probably an 8 or a 9 iron. 9 iron, I think, would be the right one. Alex, does that sound about right to you?
Well, it looks a little longer in the shaft than that, Mike. It looks nearer a 7 or 8, actually.
Well, it's difficult for me to see, but he's trying to use the wind. But oh no, there's a bunker there which is horrid, all waiting for them. That is a big, deep one there, and he won't like that at all.
Mike, he's not actually in the bunker. He's just trapped in the thick grass, just a couple of feet clear of it. So he's going to get away with it.
Still a very difficult shot, though, Alex.
Indeed it is. There's none of them easy out there today under the pressure these men are withstanding.
And Greg Norman's gone a lot further. He's only got 115 yards to the flag. A huge drive down the left half, so he's able to aim for the fat of the green. Hopefully let a little bit of wind do the work for him. Well, it looks a wonderful shot if it's the right club. Oh, it's a very good shot by Greg Norman. Another good chance for a birdie here on the 10th.
Couples at 13 for a 3. Oh no, that tiny little backswing. He does not enjoy. 5 foot down. So it's only a 4. Now to the 9th green, and we've seen this putt. We've had the advantage of the players putting from this side. Big swing from the left. Corey Pavin went first and missed his putt for a 3, got a 4. So, and it was more or less the same part of the green, so Faldo has the advantage of seeing that. That's not going in. Very awkward putt from so short a range. So the gap between Langer, Faldo and Norman remains at 2.
Paul Lawrie played the bunker shot to here. He has this for a par, and he's done another one. This is great golf from young Paul. Started the day at 1 under, now 5 under. From the King's Links up in Aberdeen, a golfing centre up there that seems to be producing several very good tournament professionals. He was the leader in the Tartan Tour a couple of years ago and fought his way up through getting a card. Some events he didn't get into, some he stood on the sidelines waiting for people to withdraw, but he's making it. We go to Bernhard Langer, who just clings on to the edge thanks to that thick grass. I think that has developed since the heavy rain came just on Wednesday and Thursday. A little bit of lead weight on the bottom of that club head. 8 iron, a running 8 iron. A running nearly in 8 iron. Clubs are getting red hot. And what a superb championship this is turning into. As each day went by, there was a sort of lull yesterday, but my goodness, when you look at the field that occupies the top 8 or 10 places, Norman, Langer, Faldo, Pavin, Couples, unbelievable. All bunched up, and they all say it all starts on the last 9 holes of the last day, and they're all moving into that spot right now. Only the last group to complete the first 9. Greg Norman completed it in 31, and Langer completed the first 9 in 33. And now to start back with the birdie. And it'll be a break from the right. It's coming down the slope. So close, so close. I was one who witnessed his 64 in the last round at Royal Troon when he came so close to winning his 2nd championship. And it was a succession of birdies from the first hole. I think he started off with 6 of them. And he was rather unlucky there. He just didn't give it quite enough. This tap in, stayed 11 under. Well done. He's 2 shots clear of Bernhard Langer and Nick Faldo. Faldo's done no better than par at 9th, and Langer can do no better than par here. But there's Greg's figures bristling with birdies there. Lovely, isn't it? No drop shots. Almost every 3rd hole a birdie.
Nick Price at the 12th was in trouble off the tee to the right. Could only get to here. This is 3rd shot. And a very fine one it is. Should get a 4 in a minute.
Bernhard Langer at 10th. This for 4. Very good. Well, it could have been really much worse if he dropped into that pot bunker. There are his figures. And it was a tiny putt at the 4th that gave him his only dropped shot.
Behind them, the last group. Faldo first. fact, Payman had the honour of this tee because he was the last one to have a birdie, which was at the 7th. And this was his tee shot. Lovely driving hole, the 10th. Very inviting target, driving up a canyon. And that's over on the other side where Faldo was later to hit it.
Greg Norman leads as the climax builds here at Royal St George's. Norman at 11 under from Langer and Faldo at 9 under. And then Corey Pavin 2 shots further back. Ernie Els in the group at 6 under par, tied for 5th at Muirfield last year. And one of the players that he tied with, Malcolm Mackenzie, has come in today with a round of 67. That leaves him at 1 over par. Scott Simpson has gone well today. He's got to 5 under with just 1 hole left to play. He started the day at 1 under par. And Paul Lawrie, who's had a very similar day, 5 under par with Nick Price. Payne Stewart, that round of 63 today. Barry Lane has come in just a few minutes ago with that 68. And Peter Baker, a 68 from him also today.
And it's the championship leader, Greg Norman, who takes on this short hole, 216-yarder, the 11th hole. Awkward green to hit. There's a sort of shoulder. You can just see it at the front left of the green.
Birdie time!
Stay there, stay there. And that's not as bad as it looks. That grassy bank is quite high, and he's probably just on some fringe grass there.
Might be more straight, more things.
Now here's young Paul Lawrie, this young Scottish player, the 17th par 4, his second shot to the green. This fellow really has been starting to make a lot of noise in this tournament, and his second shot at 17, going very close and in the hole for a magnificent shot from young Paul Lawrie from Scotland. That will certainly move him up the leaderboard a lot closer now to the leading group, which is headed by Greg Norman at 11 under. And here is Nick Faldo and Corey Pavin now, in fact, getting ready to play his shot at the 10th.
Quite a bit of hill on this hole from the landing area up to the green, about 30-foot rise. Nick's the second shot, far more difficult to judge. That's coming up short.
Stay there. Stop.
And sometimes they don't always stop rolling there.
To the 14th, Freddie Couples has hit the par 5 in 2 shots. This for the eagle 3, and he just slides back. It's the second time this week he's had a crack at the green and made it in 2 shots, but he hasn't cashed in with the eagle. He's made birdies.
Langer's shot from the bunker at the 11th, a good one, a very good one. I think the applause there both for the shot, but also I think they've probably seen Paul Laurie's score go up on the adjacent board. He would already have been on it and suddenly appears 2 shots better. They'll know what that means. Now from the back of the green, as Alex said, he's just through onto the, well, the first cut of rough. Not the easiest of shots. He's got the wind against, which is actually a bit of a help. It'll break a little bit from his right near the cup. A little clumsy.
Now Fred Couples for a birdie 4 at the 14th. And that gives him 7 under. He goes and joins Paul Lawrie and Corey Pavin at that figure. So it's not all over yet.
So both Langer and Norman with work to do at the 11th. Faldo, they're not likely to make a 4 or birdie at the 10th.
The great names go on in their familiar way, but, well, Paul Lawrie will wake up soon. He'll think he's dreaming. 7 under par. 6 under for his round today. 65 is his best performance in Europe. He's only finished in the top 25 on some 3 occasions this year in 17 tournaments. But here he is, heading for a possible 64, needs a 4 for a 64 in the final round of the Open.
But there are others with a big say in his Langer, this to save his par at 11. No. So he goes back to 8 under, now 3 behind Norman, which in a very slight way will makes Norman's putt a little bit easier.
Corey Pavin short of the green at the 10th.
Oh.
And a nice approach putt.
So Norman to save par. He's got it. He's got it. A clumsy, somewhat clumsy pitch, but a very important putt that. That will advise Faldo that there's no real joy to be had for him from the 11th green. 11 under, 7 holes to go.
Nick Faldo for a 3 at the 10th. And the right length, just played it up the wrong line just a few inches and it didn't curve back. That's a 4 for Faldo. Stays 9 under.
The 18th tee. And the adrenaline will be flowing here. And starts off very well, drifting a touch to the right maybe. Just off the fairway on the right hand side. That's okay, not ideal, but unless it's nestled down, it will leave him with a perfectly adequate shot to the pin, as you can see, nicely placed in the middle of the green.
Now Greg Norman at the 12th. Corey Pavin got his putt for par at the 10th. And this hole that dog legs quite sharply to the right, and Greg has almost run out of fairway on the left-hand side, but he's all right. Incredible things happening today. Paul Lawrie, all of Scotland praying that he makes a 3 at the last and that the gale comes up. You might have a Scottish Open champion again. It always throws up new winners, this course. There have always been new winners and not people that have done it before. Now Langer, Bernhard Langer at 8 under. Drive over that bunker on the left and the hole turns to the right. A little over a couple of 100 yards to carry the bunkers, and then there's a few ridges there. You see, like waves they are. And down it comes, and that's nicely placed. Very good shot. Great undulating fairway, and the The ridges run along the length of it.
And ahead at 14, Ernie Els, this to go 8 under, this for an eagle. Has he hit it? Looked like he had the line, but now he has that putt to go to 7 under and jump into a tie for 4th with Laurie, Couples, and Pavin. Look at his card there. 2 drop shots, both at the second hole of each 9.
Corey Pavin, tee shot at 11. And, oh, I was going to say another one finds the bunker. It might almost have been better if it had. He's come down there. Brian Morgan, and one of the top photographers of golf courses, and he wears a kilt always on the last day of the major championships. And he does take some wonderful photographs. Greg, back to Nick.
Faldo at the 11th. With 2 behind, Greg Norman. And really is great excitement now at the top of the leaderboard as they come to the final half a dozen or so holes. Conditions out, well, you can see the sun's out and the breeze, well, it's there, but in no great strength. And apart from that 20-minute, half an hour, quite heavy rain around lunchtime, conditions have remained pretty good. Yes. Well, I'll tell you what, you don't have any time to have a doze around here, do you? Nice quiet afternoon. I thought one or two of you might have nodded off, but my golly. Can't afford to close your eyes for a second. Now that's spun away a bit further than I thought it might, but still a beautifully struck shot from Faldo. There she is, 6 feet or so. He needs that one.
Well, what if that had gone in? Norman at 11 under, Faldo at 9 under par. Really has been extraordinary scoring. You'll recall that only Bill Rogers has completed 4 rounds of an Open Championship here in under par, and that gave him victory in 1981. We've currently got 24 players under par, headed by Greg Norman at 11 under, 2 shots clear of Nick Faldo.
Paul Laurie, his second shot at 18. How he can figure this out now. A birdie here would do young Mr. Laurie a world of good. Well, not quite sure where that finished. It's not on the green. Sad to say. So he's down to the right of the green. Pin today in the left center, so he has a little room to play from down there. No littering. 6 under par in this round, 7 for the tournament.
Langer, the 12th, second shot. And a good one. Long time since we've seen so many shots go very close to the hole we have in this championship, because the greens are very receptive and the conditions have been kind. But still, the golf has been really electrifying.
Laurie's figures there. Of course, we just saw the 5-iron that he holds at the 17th for an Eagle 2. There's no thrill in golf quite like walking up that amphitheater at 18 at an Open Championship.
Craig Norman at the 12th.
Yes.
Well, I don't think, as I said before, that anyone would begrudge Greg Norman winning a championship. He's been robbed a few times.
Corey Pavin getting a free drop at the 11th. Camera tower in his way there. So he gets relief for line of sight. So no penalty there. And he's dropped onto a good lie. Still a difficult shot, though. He's got a couple of mounds to go over. He'll be pitching on it to a down slope, the green running away from him. The only thing really in his favour is he's almost coming directly back into the wind. But he does play delightful shots with this Sandown. We saw him play a beautiful shot at the 3rd hole, similar sort of shot. Chances are he's going to take that long, slow swing. There we go. Bit of hand action at the bottom. Soft shot, floating the ball into the air. Slightly undercooked it though, but you can see it was a very difficult shot just from the way the ball now is rolling onto the green. Needed to pitch it just another 3 or 4 feet. So Pavin struggling for his par here at the 11th.
Nudges one in, and he's really going along very, very confidently and comfortably. 12 under now.
At the 11th, Pavin, this for his par 3. Faldo, you remember, played a marvelous iron shot that hit the hole. It was inside of Corey still, so Pavin some 8 to 10 feet away. Corey 1 over for the day's round, 7 under for the championship. This to stay there. Should break to his right a little. It never did. Either pulled it or misfigured it. Coming off of that slope. So Pavin drops a shot. Falls back to 6 under, 2 over for the day's round.
Bernard Langer for a birdie at the 12th. So 2 birdies.
Another look at Faldo's shot, just at the 11th. Well, if it hit the pin, it could have gone. But a terrific shot. Consider the circumstances, the longest par 3, the pressure. This thin to get to 10. He's got it. This is absolutely great stuff. There is a very, very tough man, as this man is.
Greg Norman drives at the 13th. This, for the members, is the stroke index number 1. Down right to the far end of the course.
So the birdie's coming thick and fast. Nick Faldo now, 2 shots behind Greg Norman after birdieing the 10th. His tee shot at the 11th. This is the shortest par 4 on the course, and rolling just over towards the slight rough area, but it doesn't appear to be any trouble. Not a bad shot from Faldo. And the current situation, well, we just saw some of the other players that have recorded their rounds or are still out on the course. McNulty, Morgan, Daly, Jose Rivera, 1 under after 16. Peter Baker having 1 under. And Roger Davis, you see there, finishing level par after his round today. And some pretty fine players in that group. Larry Myers, 1 over. Mark James, 1 over.
Bernhard Langer down the left of the 13th in the semi-rough. The ball's lying pretty well. His only problem is the wind is pretty much behind him here. This green has got a hogsback that goes down the middle of it, and the pin today is 29 paces on down the right-hand corner, so Bernhard has got to come onto the green across the hogsback and then let the contours of the green do the rest of the work. Not an easy shot by any means. Probably just a 9-iron from there, maybe an 8-iron for Bernhard. Probably an 8-iron, in fact. It would be, because it's quite a long way still for him from there, and it might just come out of there a bit quick. Is it going the hogsback? There it is. That's the hogsback I was talking about, and that is a wonderful shot by Langer. Only just 8 feet, 9 feet away. Tremendous blow. Great drive by Greg Norman. A drive of 328 yards down this 13th hole. He's left himself only 129 to go. Straight into the flag. He can, on the right-hand side, he can go right down the green. He doesn't have any problems with it whatsoever. Probably just a wedge. What's happened with this is got it the right side of it. He certainly has. That's another wonderful shot by Norman, and the shark is really biting today.
And Faldo almost gone a little bit too left and far with this tee shot. He's in the low part of the fairway, so he doesn't get a view of the bottom of the pin. Just 90 yards to go, hitting a wedge. Let's give him the birdie chance he needs. Yes, it does. That's a nice shot. Norman at 12 under, Faldo at 10.
th Fred Couples putting for a birdie, and she's had a few of them today, has Fred. 3 under today, 7 under for the championship.
Norman marks his ball at 13. Hands it to his caddy Andy there. Heard Alex say a little while ago how close Greg stands to the ball. He went to Claude Harmon Jr. to try to help him with his game, and one of the first things that Claude told him was to stand closer to the ball like he used to and try to hit the ball harder like the young Greg Norman did, and it seemed to straighten out whatever problems that he had. He really does stand close to it, but that's the way Arnold played when he was younger too. Of course, Byron Nelson always said you couldn't stand too close to the ball. So there are theories all around about standing close to it or far away from it, but it certainly did help Greg when Claude got him to move up close to it. I don't think around here you can really get enough lead to feel safe. He's still got that drive to hit at 14, which is so dangerous. And of course, 15, 17, and 18 are very strong par fours. So another big putt. Looks good. Didn't hit it. So the leader by 2, 12 under through 13 holes. Five under for today's round. Faldo. He too just slides by at the 12th, went left, couldn't believe it, didn't read it, couldn't see it. So only a par for Nick. Only a par up ahead for Greg Norman. Chances coming, chances going. Langer now with this for his birdie to go 10 under and join Faldo 2 behind Greg Norman. Yes, sir. Very good 3. Played a lovely second shot, used the slope. Little ridge, as Mike Houston was saying, through the green. Just came in off that quite beautifully and finished it off. The nice putt. Peter Sr. at this par 3 16th, just for a birdie. And he's got it. And I beg your pardon, that's the 15th, and he moves to 8 under for the championship. Just a 1 drop shot at the first hole.
Well, there's the line, the out-of-bounds line down the 14th. The white stakes and the white line between them, marking the out-of-bounds.
Nice swing. Positive on the left up.
This, I suppose, is the only remaining dangerous, really dangerous drive on the course. 4 dangerous holes, or 3 dangerous holes left after this one. Now, Bernard's played this hole with a iron off the tee every other occasion. Not today. Wonder why.
Damn it.
Sadly for Bernhard, that is out of bounds. It's just slipped over the white fence down the right-hand side of this 14th, so he'll be playing 3 off the tee.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, now, too late, old son. He's had his game plan in place. Wow, Greg Norman sees one of his closest pursuers out of bounds. He's out with the old metally. The one thing he mustn't do is follow him out of bounds. He's got to get no worse than a 5 here. He's driven quite beautifully all week. That's a beautiful drive. Pitched, sadly for him, it pitched into the upslope of one of those little humps and killed it. Didn't get any forward chase.
Now, while the focus has been on Greg Norman, and rightly so, Peter Senior, another Australian doing very nicely, has been creeping up the leaderboard. This is his tee shot at the 16th. He is currently 8 under the card, 4 shots behind Norman, and tee shots like that will certainly keep Peter Senior right in contention. Now, we saw Bernhard Langer send his tee shot at 14 out of bounds. He's hitting 3 off the tee. He's gone for the iron, and this is the result of his second tee shot. It's certainly much better, but way short. He's not going to reach the green from there. So Bernhard Langer with all sorts of problems. Here's Peter Senior's putt.
It looks like it would be into a tie for second if he does. And he's got it. He's got it. He's still got a chance. Bush Langer's out of bounds at 14. Faldo's had to waste a shot getting out of the bunker at 13.
Langer at the 14th. That's his 4th shot. Well, what a moment to let one drift away. Well, the 14th has been a graveyard for many over the years. Greg Norman, he's having a cut at it. Well, I say, it looks very wide and open. There's tons of room down the left, but remember, Des Smith carving one away on the right. We thought we'd possibly never escape from that clinging long grass, but Greg having a cut.
Go on for all you're worth. Go on for all you're worth. Good swing, Greg. Go on.
And a big hop, but it went up in the air instead of forward, but there are 2 mighty blows. And he's lying all right, and lots of room to pitch the ball. Norman looking very good indeed here at the 14th.
And a critical shot for Faldo. Must get this one close, give himself a chance for a par. His 3rd shot. Well, not a bad effort. He has played his iron shots remarkably well, but it's getting them close, that's the problem. Time running out a little bit for him. 2 drives have cost him dearly into bunkers today, that one and the 7th, both dog legs left, where he virtually ran out of fairway. They weren't particularly bad tee shots.
Seventeenth tee, Peter Senior. Beautiful drive there at 17, 4 under for today's round. Played 5 under since the first hole where he dropped a shot.
Langer at the 14th, way back. And that very expensive drive out of bounds. And now he's playing 5th shot.
It should be about 18 or just a normal night, I have to say.
Bernhard Langer's 5th shot here on the 14th. Just 124 yards, in fact, for Bernhard. Difficult green to judge, as we've seen all week. Don't see many of these 3rd shots normally, although this is his 5th. Get close to this, it's very difficult to judge. Just a wedge, a question of how hard to hit it. You have to feel it in his fingers. That's a wonderful shot. Absolutely pin high, about 20 feet away. Give himself a chance for a 6.
So Greg Norman striding up there at the head of affairs in more ways than one, and looking very confident. 31 out, that really is cracking golf. Well, we've seen so much good golf today. Indeed, Ian Plyman, the amateur champions, putting in the lowest total ever done by an amateur in the Open Championship. That's worthy of a little present of some sort. I nearly said bung. I've been mixing with some strange people this week. Didn't bung the right geezer. Now here we go. He's got to just get this one up. He's remember, this is a par 5, so he's not going to lose any ground really to par, even if he takes 3 from here. But I fancy with his improved short game and putting and the flatness of the shot, the simplicity of the shots, the one danger is that he might rattle it a bit too far. Glove off, you notice. Don't do that sort of thing. I believe it gives them a better feel. Now this is one of his lofted clubs, hands forward, club face square, little wristy break and then punch down. Boom, up she goes. Oh, it's a gem. Hello. Oh, no. Oh, nearly did it again. He held out for a 4, and I think he's, at this moment, we mustn't speak too soon, but at this moment, he's getting a little bit back for all the times he's had the dirty done to him. In the golfing sense, I hasten to add. It's a wonderful little pitch. I think he might just walk up and nudge that. He looks so relaxed. Mark McCormick was saying this morning he'd never seen him look so relaxed. A few split ends, but he looks relaxed.
Now this has to be a fighting putt from Faldo if he's to have any chance. It's for a par 4 and he's got it. And that's the courage of the man showing through.
th hole, Peter Senior's second shot. Senior 9 under. Be good, be good. He's talking to it, and that's another cracking shot.
Now Bernard Langer surveying his putt. A tee shot out of bounds, finishing his hopes of the championship. This putt for a 6. And I just wonder what's going through his mind at this moment. Just 5 minutes ago, he still had the championship in sight. He was playing with the man who was in the lead. He had him in his sights, and he made a decision on the tee, the strangest decision. He changed all that he'd planned for the week and hoped to make a birdie to pull himself closer still, and paid the price, the ultimate price, out of bounds. This for a 7. And applause of sympathy. He's back from 10 to only 8 under. What have I done?
Faldo at the 14th. Tee shot. He's got to be aware of beware of the out of bounds on the right. And just trundling along. Good spot.
Well, he really is a fighter, Nick Faldo, but Greg Norman is winning the fight at the moment. Norman, 3 shots clear at 13 under par. Langer, with those big problems at 14, dropping back to 8 under. We've seen some wonderful golf today. We've seen shots hit close. We've seen putts flying in, but there have been other problems for others. Ray Floyd took a 9 at the 14th. Ian Baker Finch reached the turn today at level par, dropped 9 shots in the next 6 holes. No such afflictions have hit Greg Norman, though. 13 under par, having started the day at 7 under.
Greg Norman at the 15th. You see how close he stands. Dave Marr was talking about it. It really is crowded in on the ball. The backswing only 3/4 length. That's part of the new treatment as well. The cushion of 3 shots, and he's hit a cracking drive up the 15th.
Oh, you stabbed me vitals. I didn't hit it. Fancy leaving it short.
Bernhard Langer, who now lies on his own and in 4th place at 8 under par, when he was so much in the hunt all day. And that's a beautiful tee shot. A long way down it goes, down the 15th. There's Norman's ball, just a few yards ahead, different line.
Defending champion Nick Faldo has it all to do with 3 shots behind Greg Norman. Norman not faltering, and really Faldo has to start to make a run. His second shot just almost onto the green. It's a good shot into the wind from Faldo. So he's certainly still in there fighting, but it's Greg Norman who leads by 3 as Faldo strides up towards the 14th green. Great battle here in the British Open. Hope you're enjoying our coverage as Faldo 10 under the card. And here's Fred Couples. Well, there was Fred Couples. Here's Bernhard Langer.
And he's hit a good drive. You can see the pin from there. He's got 190 odd yards to the front of this green. It's probably be going for something like a 4 or 5 iron. Got to be careful not to fly over this one. I've seen a number of people over the last few days over this green, but not this one. That's a wonderful shot by Bernhard Langer. He won't give up. He'll be in there to the end. Really splendid shot by Bernhard Langer. Very difficult one. That might cheer him up a bit after the last hole. Greg Norman, just 162 yards to the front of this green. Pin right at the back. Be only using a 7 iron. Most beautiful conditions for golf out here.
See the stick now.
Get out. Come on, get out.
Oh, he's misjudged there, and that's the one place not to be. Honestly, should have been a 6 iron, but now at least the only thing that he's got is plenty of the green to work with now.
Nick Faldo, 3rd shot at the par 5, 14th. How about that for a judge under speed? Oh, David Brown couldn't have done it better. Rolled it up as sweet as a nut. So a birdie for Faldo and takes him to 11. Norman might drop one at the next. So a lot can still happen.
Back to the 18th, John Daly, putt for a 4 for a round of 71. And he finishes the championship at 2 under par.
The 14th, Corey Paving striding back. Well, if he can get it as close as Nick Faldo did, it'll be a wonderful shot. Just started to lose speed. Paving. Crazy to his friends.
Greg Norman, just have a look at the shoulder that he has to come up here at the 15th, and I think, yes, he's got a putter. That would certainly be the club recommended by anyone who plays Linksland golf regularly. It's a two-way break. He must set it off to the left to climb the hill. That swings it away, and then the green will attempt to bring the ball back. It must judge the pace. When you aim it out to the left and hit it too firm and it goes up too quickly, it can continue on that line too far. This is his third shot. Well, you can see it breaking away to the right, and now it should come back. No, it didn't come back. It started to continue off to the right, in fact. So it's possible a shot could be dropped here just by misclubbing, but taking one club too few.
Peter Senior at the 18th. In third spot at 9 under. He's had 3 birdies in the last 4 holes. There haven't been many threes at this final hole, but I tell you what, if he was to get one, finish at 10 under, that'd make a few of them twick and tweech a bit.
Back to the 14th, where Faldo has this little putt for a birdie. And that cheer will go all the way forward to Greg Norman on the next hole.
Yes, Faldo's played the last 2. The 4 he got at the 13th was masterly. And 2 fine shots down in 2 from 30 yards at the 14th was terrific. And Greg Norman, the championship leader, faced with a 12-footer, 14-footer for his par. This to stay 13 under. Solid as a rock. Solid as a rock. The question was asked there, and my word, he whipped the answer back as sweet as a nut. Stays at 13 under. 2 ahead. Still work to do. It's hard not to get excited, but Greg Norman's been on this road so many times and been disappointed so many times that he may well, if he does win, say, oh, well, you know, I just be patient. That's the favourite word now. Be patient and take my time and do whatever, but he will be absolutely chuffed to death. Looking up at one of the master scoreboards here that are run so efficiently.
466 yards away from Greg Norman. His nearest challenger, Nick Faldo. Nick at 11 under, Greg at 13. Well, is that all right? Is it drifting a bit right? No, well, it's right half of the fairway, right of centre, the best line to come in. Beautiful tee shot.
Peter Senior is viewing his second shot to the 18th, 9 under. 468 yards this hole into the bit of breeze, so this is a long iron, 2 iron probably. Chopped that off a bit short. Oh dear, dear. Oh my God. That fizzed in there. That really was a nervy one.
Greg Norman looking at this, the result of his tee shot, 16, absolutely perfect. Greg Norman leading the tournament by 2, 3 holes to play, has put one right next to the flag at 16, and he should be well pleased with that result.
Oh, right. Where was the hole it was in?
You see Greg Norman's ball just in there, and they really have had a few ding-dongs. When we were at Jamaica just before Christmas, they battled it out, Greg Norman, and Greg Norman played a wonderful bunker shot. You might remember then at the 18th, he put it to within 2 feet and had it for victory and missed that, and Nick Faldo crept through. And we really are fortunate in the British Isles with all these wonderful links lands that we possess around the shores.
Faldo's second to the 15th. 175 yards to the front. That was a 4-iron. He was cutting in. And a wonderful shot. Well, he needs birdies and another great iron shot.
So we really are having a feast of shot making today. The best players in the world assembled on a fine course, kindly weather. I suppose 1 or 2 of the old pundits with a streak of sadism in them would have wished for a nice rain, a temperature about 47 degrees. But no, there's too much work goes into this event to have it spoilt by dreadful weather. But you can't legislate for that. But look, the final match in the distance, they're going up the 15th. And on the 16th green, the last of the short holes, Greg Norman, and on the 18th, oh, look at this, cross-handed. There's Peter Senior, little pitch, cack-handed, and he hasn't done that very well. And what a pity, he's had 3 birdies in the last 4 holes, and looks as if he's going to take certainly a 5 here at the last hole, when a 3 would have put him in at 10 under.
On to the 16th green. You see Greg Norman's marker there, just maybe 3.5 feet to the left of the hole. Bernhard Langer, we thought his shot was great. It's been, as Peter was saying, a feast of great iron shots. Bernhard, who is joint 3rd at the moment with Peter Senior. It looks as if Senior's going to move out of that place and join Corey Pavin. And Bernhard, well, he's 2 behind Faldo and 4 behind Norman. I wonder when he ponders tonight on his decision that he made on the 14th tee, changed his policy of the week, but he's not changing his grip. It's almost named after him now, the Langer. This for a 2, down the slope. Here it comes, here it comes. Birdies galore. Bristling with birdies, this championship. He's got the smile back. Look what he did after his 7. This is incredible, isn't it? 3-3-7-3-2. Wonderful. What a fighting spirit some people are blessed with. Now Greg Norman at 13 under. I have the feeling that if he rolls this in, he just takes himself too far away. There are no out of bounds, there are no great dangers. I know the last 2 holes are, well, they're potential 5 holes, but I would think this one might seal it. There might be a touch of break off the left half of the hole. Well, he hit that hard. He knew the circumstances. He's trying to close the door on him, and look at those figures there. Not a drop shot. Not a drop shot, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 birdies. Out in 31. 3 under par coming home.
A magnificent 63 by Payne Stewart this morning sort of set the scene for this wonderful run. But I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. And Greg Norman, of course, if he could finish with a 3 and a 4, he'd do a 62, which is quite extraordinary. 2 4s for a 63. But so there haven't been many 3s at these last 2 holes. Although young Paul Lawrie got a 2.
Quickly back to the 15th, Nick Faldo. Opportunity here for a 3. Just to go to 12 under and still very much in it.
Get it!
Oh, and he just didn't give it enough. The unforgivable sin for him at this stage was to be short.
Bernard Langer at the 17th. What a run he's had over the last 5 holes, to include a 7. Just misses the big deep bunker.
Anything it feels like maybe just a little up to the left. You look at the flags on the 18th tower.
So just 2 holes left for Gregory.
Good tempo now, partner.
He leads by 3. You get the feeling that if he does these last 2 in 9 strokes, he'd still be well in. And let's wish him 2 4s. Yeah, cracking drive. There's only been 5 birdies today at the 17th, and they've got Paul Laurie's eagle. And there've only been 2 3s at the last hole, Greg Turner and Jose Rivera.
So Peter Senior for a 4 at the last. It's not too far away, but it's going to be a disappointing 5. But even so, it'll be a round of 67. which in itself is a fine round of golf. And look at that run towards the end, which just ran out of steam at 17 and 18. And at 8 under par, 272 is a pretty good score for 4 rounds in the Open Championship.
Corey Pavin at 16th. Pavin at 9 under. Just couldn't get things going today. Seemed to just catch the ground a little bit heavy there. Oh, got away with it. Wasn't a crisp strike. Now Faldo had a glorious opportunity at the last hole for a birdie. He's missed a short putt today, about a yarder early on in the round. He still struck many beautiful shots, but 2 or 3 drives just wandered offline and found trouble from the tee. Finds himself in second place, 3 strokes behind Greg Norman, who's fairly roaring along. Wind, I think, has just perked up a little bit. At 15 miles an hour.
No cameras, please.
That was not a recording.
You're the bloke!
Oh dear. And, oh, a beautiful shot for line, but not enough club, or he just caught the ground a bit heavy.
Now, Greg Norman, the victory in the British Open certainly in sight.
Head away.
His approach at 17. And again, a wonderful shot from Norman. He's made very few errors today. He's certainly in control of his game and playing with a great deal of confidence. And here is the only real threat, Nick Faldo at 16.
Yeah, it's a very good putt from such long range. You're too far away really to hope to hold those. It's good fortune if occasionally you do, but that's a very finely judged long putt from Nick, who'll stay at 11 under with just 2 holes left. Look up at the master scoreboard, which scoreboard's dotted all around the course. Pavin's just got a little chip from off the green. He's 9 under. Peter Senior's completed his round at 8 under. That's the best score so far of those completed rounds. Well, Pavin doesn't really want to drop any shots from here and be worse than 4th if he can possibly help it. £56,000 for 4th place. He's got his putting grip, and he's got just got to do a little, playing it like a putt. Just not enough, but the idea was brilliant. Just bobbed it down the hill with a straight-faced club.
Norman first. This is quite sharply downhill, bit of break from right to left. 2 putts will do. perhaps for the very first time, he's thinking all he has to do is not make any mistakes, because he's been aggression itself up to here. Moving his marker 1 to the left, or a putt ahead to the left, so that it's not in Langer's way. A slightly flatter putt. Langer 3 under for the day, in spite of that 7.
Corey Pavin for a par at the 16th. This to stay 9 under. He's had 1, 2, 3, 4 drop shots today. Faldo just taps in. Very meticulous in all he does. Just taps in. Another par. He's 3 under today, so if he pars in, it's around a 67, so he certainly hasn't thrown it away. Just shot there at the 4th and the 7th where he didn't get a birdie.
So Langer to join Faldo in 2nd place. Like Norman hasn't hit it. I must say his 2 birdies after the 7 were of the highest quality. I think his ball's almost exactly where Norman's would be if he marked it or put it back again. I think the answer would be for Langer to get on with it. And in fact, so that Langer doesn't tread on his line, Norman's going to go first. It's not a problem in any shape or form. It's the common courtesies that one golfer will always show to another. Well, he always has the capacity to amaze us. He should still have enough shots in hand. 2 now. They're not going to have a repeat of last year with Cook missing from it. Must be set greater range than that. That could barely have been more than a foot. And perhaps a lapse in concentration. I don't think it was nerves, it was just lapse of concentration, borne about with all the fiddling around as to who to putt first. And 4 bit of muted applause after that. What a pity. Remember when he shot that amazing round at Turnberry on his way to victory? I think it was the 3rd round. He still managed to 3-putt the last green. But it certainly keeps the championship alive.
Back on the tee, Faldo. Tee shot at the 17th. I think he's got to do these 2 holes in 7, and then Faldo's got Greg Norman's got to have another sort of miscue or take 5 or something down the last to be in with a shout. But
oh, they're all cheering.
have another look at that little putt of Norman's. I think he just hit it too hard. I think he might have done better going straight up and putting it in when he just catches the left. Other strike looked all right. And if it had been going a bit slower, it might have dropped. But that's the shortest putt I think we've seen missed this week. And what a time to do it when you're cruising.
Been in the pocket all the time, so let's just grab that one. All right, let's get another one.
Well, I wonder what thoughts Bernard Langer has now, thinking about the 14th. He took 7 at the 14th. Just the one hole left. Langer at 10 under in 3rd place at the moment. And this hole, no pushover.
Stand still, please.
He would have been absolutely home and hosed if he'd popped that in. Now he's got all sorts of thoughts to contend with. I always do that when I try and tap it down. It always fall off. Come on, Bernard. Four for 67.
Stand still, please.
Yeah, the green at the end waits. Just saying, 2 decent shots and a couple of putts. Oh well, we've seen him so often blast one offline at moments like this. I think that's a good one. There she goes. Scandal, that stopped very quickly. Just pitched into an upslope, but safely on the fairway.
Closing stages of the British Open with Greg Norman, the leader, by 2 shots. He's hit his tee shot at the 18th. Nick Faldo has this approach shot at 17. Faldo, the only real threat to Norman, 2 shots behind, looking for birdies, but running out of holes. This shot from Faldo is nicely on the green. Quite a long putt for a birdie, though, as we go back live, and Bernhard Langer playing with Greg Norman at the 18th.
In the classic position, which we saw back in 85. Probably a 3 or 4 iron. He won't be able to feel any wind here because the grandstands will be protecting this amphitheatre. So it might easily be a 4 iron for Bernhard. Played some wonderful golf this afternoon.
Hit it a bit lower.
And nice it's been, too, to see him and Norman chatting all the way around, and it's been played in great spirit. That's a wonderful shot by Bernhard. Mate, one putt would really do him a lot of good. Greg Norman just a few yards further on. He's got a good lie there on top of this little pimple in the middle of the 18th fairway. Just on 200 yards to go. Now, what's he going to hit here? Maybe as little as a 5 iron. Lots of adrenaline, so he might well have taken 1 club less than usual. How about that? Thank you very much.
Well, he gave his supporters a heart attack at the last hole, but what a beautiful iron there. much you can say after a reception like that, except all of them know what it'll mean to Norman if he should win the championship, and it looks very much as if he will now. But he's had so many disappointments. Langer too has been there, played his part. So many of the world's very best players here this week and showing us their skills. It's been a privilege to see it.
Well, Faldo will have heard all that and will assume that this has to go in.
Come on.
It's not going to get there. And one almost senses the roars that have greeted every Norman shot for the last 20 minutes have somehow impacted on his shot. He knows there's probably nothing he can do now. He himself wants a 4 at the last for a 67. And he started the day at 8 under, now 11 under, and it's not going to be good by 2 at least. But nothing to be ashamed of if he doesn't win. It's just not his turn.
So the 18th, Bernhard Langer. Well, if he could get this one in, he would finish at 11 under par. Faldo would then need to birdie the last to beat him. So it looks as if Norman is going to win, but putt for 67. 10 under. Very good championship for Bernhard Langer, but just look at that 7. 4 at the short 11th. Changed his game plan at the 14th, took a driver off the tee and slid it out of bounds and took 7th. Then followed up with a 3 and a 2. That's the game of golf. Greg Norman. Settling round and about his ball. There's a huge stands, all full and quiet. He's had a good look at this one now. He must be thinking, well, if I 2-putt this, it means that Faldo has to hold his second at the last, and that's possible. And the way my luck's been running over the last 10 years, it must happen. So I better pop it in. So it'll be a 4. Oh, remember what happened the last time? That's for 64. There's that miscue at the 17th, otherwise he would have equalled the 63 scored earlier today by Payne Stewart. 64, what about that? Tremendous.